Hello, and welcome to another video from the YouTube channel, From Religion to Agnostic. Okay, and so today we look at Magog. Magog is the second of the 7 sons of Japheth mentioned in the Table of Nations in Genesis 10. While the origin of the term is unclear, it may have referred to Lydia, in what is now Turkey. Its use in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38 has led to it being associated with apocalyptic traditions. Various ancient and medieval traditions have built on the biblical references and added details to it. The origin of the name Magog is unclear. It may come from the Akkadi on Matguji, land of Gog, that is, the land of Gyges, Lydia. So let's pause for a minute and look at Lydia. Lydia was an Iron Age kingdom of Western Asia Minor located generally east of ancient Ionia in the modern western Turkish provinces of Yozak, Manisa, and inland Izmir. The language of its population, known as Lydian, was a member of the Anatolian branch of Indo-European language family. Its capital was Sardis. The kingdom of Lydia existed from about 1200 BC to 546 BC. At its greatest extent, during the 7th century BC, it covered all of western Anatolia. In 546 BC, it became a province of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, known as the Satrapy of Lydia or Sparta in Old Persian. In 133 BC, it became part of the Roman province of Asia. Coins were invented in Lydia around the 7th century BC. The endonym Sfard, the name the Lydians called themselves, survives in bilingual and trilingual stone-carved notices of the Achaemenid Empire. The satrapy of Sparta, Old Persian, Saparda, Babylonian Saparda, Elamitic Isparda, these in the Greek tradition are associated with Sardis, the capital city of King Gyges, constructed during the 7th century BC. Lydia is called Kisidon by Hayton of Corycus, in The Flower of the History of the East, a name which was corrupted to Quisiton in the travels of Sir John Mandeville. The region of the Lydian kingdom was during the 15th and 14th centuries BCE part of the Arzawa kingdom. However, the Lydian language is usually not categorized as part of the Luwic subgroup, unlike the other nearby Anatolian languages Luwian, Carian, and Lycian. Okay, so let's look real quick. I hate to leave the subject of Magog, but this fits in with said figure. So let's look back here a minute. It said a few lines back, and I quote, "These in the Greek tradition are associated with Sardis, the capital city of King Gyges." So now I need to point you here. Let's look, who was this, King Gyges? Gyges was the founder of the Mermad dynasty of Lydian kings. The dates of his reign are uncertain but have been tentatively estimated as c. 687 to c. 652 BC. According to Herodotus, he reigned for 38 years. He was a bodyguard of his predecessor Candace, whom he assassinated in order to seize the throne. His action was approved by the Delphic oracle, and that decision prevented civil war in Lydia. Once established on the throne, Gyges devoted himself to consolidating his kingdom and making it a military power. He captured Colophon, Magnesia on the Maeander, and probably also Sipylus, whose successor was to become the city also named Magnesia in later records. Smyrna was besieged, and to the north, the Troad was brought under Lydian control. Gyges pushed back the Cimmerians, who had ravaged Asia Minor and caused the fall of Phrygia. During his campaigns against the Cimmerians, he failed to engage the help of the Assyrians and turned instead to ancient Egypt, sending his Carian troops to assist Samoditius. Gyges later fell in a battle against the Cimmerii under Dugdam, and was succeeded by his son Ardes of Lydia. His reign and his death. Once established on the throne, Gyges devoted himself to consolidating his kingdom and making it a military power, although exactly how far the Lydian kingdom extended under his reign is difficult to ascertain. He captured Colophon, already largely Lydianized in tastes and customs, and Magnesia on the Maeander, the only other Aeolian colony in the largely Ionian southern Aegean coast of Anatolia, and probably also Sipylus, whose successor was to become the city also named Magnesia in later records. Smyrna was besieged, and alliances were entered into with Ephesus and Miletus. To the north, the Troad was brought under Lydian control. The armies of Gyges pushed back the Cimmerians, who had ravaged Asia Minor and caused the fall of Phrygia. During his campaigns against the Cimmerians, an embassy was sent to Ashurbanipal at Nineveh in the hope of obtaining his help against the Cimmerians. But the Assyrians were otherwise engaged, and Gyges turned to ancient Egypt, sending his faithful Carian troops along with Ionian mercenaries to assist Samoditius in shaking off the Assyrian yoke. Gyges later fell in a battle against the Cimmeriae under dug dam, called Lygdames by Strabo 1. 321, who probably mistook the Greek delta A for a lambda A, who had previously advanced as far as the town of Sardis. Gyges was succeeded by his son Ardes of Lydia. Okay, so now back to Magog. Ancient and medieval views. Josephus refers to Magog son of Japheth as progenitor of Scythians, or peoples north of the Black Sea. According to him, the Greeks called Scythia Magogia. An alternate identification derived from an examination of the order in which tribal names are listed in Ezekiel 38, would place Magog between Cappadocia and Media. According to Rabbi Shlomo Gansfried, 19th century, Magog refers to the Mongols. He cites an Arab writer who refers to the Great Wall of China with the name, Magog. Jordan's Getica, 551, mentions Magog as ancestor of the Goths, as does the Historia Brittonum, but Isidore of Seville, c. 635, asserts that this identification was popular because of the similarity of the last syllable, Etymologia, 1189. Johannes Magnus, 1488–1544, stated that Magog migrated to Scandinavia, via Finland, 88 years after the flood, and that his 5 sons were Sueno, ancestor of the Swedes, Gether, or Gog, ancestor of the Goths, Ubbo, who later ruled the Swedes and built Old Uppsala, Thor, and German. Magnus' accounts became accepted at the Swedish court for a long time, and even caused the dynastic numerals of the Swedish monarchs to be renumbered accordingly. Queen Christina of Sweden reckoned herself as number 249 in a list of kings going back to Magog. Magnus also influenced several later historians such as Daniel Juslenius, 1676–1752, who derived the roots of the Finns from Magog. According to several medieval Irish chronicles, most notably the Aureus Septenaenesis and Lebergabula Aaron, the Irish race are a composite including descendants of Japheth's son Magog from Scythia. Both Mac Magog, both, Jobhut, and Fathicta are the 3 sons of Magog. Phineas Farsed, Partholon, Nemd, the Firbolg, the Tuathadidanan, and the Milesians are among Magog's descendants. Magog was also supposed to have had a grandson called Heber, whose offspring spread throughout the Mediterranean. There is also a medieval Hungarian legend that says the Huns, as well as the Magyars, are descended from twin brothers named Hunair and Major respectively, who lived by the Sea of Azov in the years after the flood, and took wives from the Alans. The version of this legend in the 14th century Chronicon Pictum equates this Major with Magog, son of Japheth. In the Bible, Magog is often associated with apocalyptic traditions, mainly in connection with Ezekiel 38 and 39, which mentions Gog of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, Ezekiel 38:2 NIV. On the basis of this mention, Gog and Magog, over time became associated with each other as a pair. In the New Testament, this pairing is found in the book of Revelation 20:8, in which instance they may merely be metaphors for archetypal enemies of God. In other Jewish sources, Magog is mentioned, Genesis 10:2, I Chronicles 1:5, as the second son of Japheth, between Gomer and Madai. Gomer representing the Cimmerians and Madai the Medes. Magog must be a people located east of the Cimmerians and west of the Medes. But in the list of nations, Genesis 10, the term connotes rather the complex of barbarian peoples dwelling at the extreme north and northeast of the geographical survey covered by the chapter. Josephus, Antiquities of the Jews, 2. 6, Section 1, identifies them with the Scythians, a name which among classical writers stands for a number of unknown ferocious tribes. According to Jerome, Magog was situated beyond the Caucasus, near the Caspian Sea. It is very likely that the name is of Caucasian origin, but the etymologies adduced from the Persian and other Indo-European dialects are not convincing. In Ezekiel 38:2, Magog occurs as the name of a country, with the definite article, in Ezekiel 39:6 as that of a northern people, the leader of whom is Gog. This, Gog, has been identified with Gyges, but is evidently a free invention, from Magog, of either popular tradition or the author of the chapter. The vivid description of the invasion indicates that the writer, either from personal knowledge or from hearsay, was acquainted with a disaster of the kind. Probably the ravages committed by the Scythians under Josiah, compare Herodotus, 1:103, 6:11, furnished him with his illustrative material. As contained in Ezekiel, the prophecy partakes altogether of the character of the apocalyptic prediction, i.e., it is not descriptive of events but predictive in a mystic way of happenings yet to be, according to the speculative theology of the writer. Winkler's theory, Alt Oriental Forskungen, 2. 137, 3. 36, is that Alexander the Great and his invasion are the background. But this anticipates the development of the Gog legend, which, indeed, saw in the Macedonian king the Gog of the biblical prophecy. The Gog myth is probably part of a cycle which goes back to the Babylonian-Assyrian creation accounts, the fight with and the defeat of the dragon, and, on the other hand, enters largely into the eschatology of Judaism and Christianity, in Buzet, the Antichrist legend, London, 1896, Gunkel, Skofung und Chaos, Göttingen, 1895. In Islam, Magog's appearance in the Quran and other Islamic sources is chiefly due to his apocalyptic renown as part of the pairing of Gog and Magog, Arabic, Yajuj wa Majuj. In Surah Al-Kahf, the cave, 18:83-98, of the Quran, early 7th century AD, an individual called Dhul Qarnayn, the two-horned one, journeys to a distant land in a pass between two mountains where he finds people who are suffering from the mischief of Gog and Magog. Dhul Qarnayn then makes a wall of copper and iron to keep Gog and Magog out, but warns that it will be removed in the last age. In Surah 21, Al-Anbiya, the prophets, the wall is mentioned again. There Allah tells his prophet, Muhammad, that there is a prohibition upon the people of a city which we have destroyed that they will ever return, until the dam of Gog and Magog has been opened and thou shalt see them, from every higher ground, descending. Alrighty, and that will do it for this video. Catch you on the next one. Have a great day, and be safe. If you enjoyed this video, please think about subscribing, as well as hitting the like and sharing would help out a lot. Thank you all, peace out, people.